Hi everyone, my name is Angel Michael, and I'm that guy that is going to be coaching you on how to write your project perfectly well, how to write your degree project perfectly well. So stay tuned to this channel. This is actually my first video in this channel. So if you are joining us in this channel as an undergraduate, kindly subscribe to the channel, like the video, and if there is anything that you want me to treat concerning project writing, please drop it in the comment section. All right, drop it in the comment section. So having introduced myself and what the channel is all about, let's get into the business of the day immediately. All right, when I was planning this video, I didn't actually want to define what project writing is because I believe that every undergraduate definitely knows what project writing is. Because you definitely know that you write a project at the ending of your years in the university. That is at your final level, second semester actually. So, but I felt like some people might not really know what project writing is. So let me just define what project writing is. Project writing is a seasoned documentation of a research or a study that is carried out by you, the student. A seasoned documentation of a research or study that is carried out by you, the student. What does it mean? It means a well arranged document, or rather a well arranged writings of research that was carried out by you, the student. Because when you are given a project topic to write, you will have to and research about it, ask questions, administer questionnaires to people to the area that you are assigned to write the project topic about. You have to administer questionnaires, you have to ask people questions, you have to go and read a lot of journals, you have to go and read past books, history books, and the rest of them. So it means when you have read and gathered information from all these places, that the gathering of all this information is what they call research. So when you gathered information from journals, from asking questions, from interviews, and the rest of it, the process of writing it down and the way you did that research, that is simply project writing. I believe you understand it perfectly well. All right, going into the business of today, the topic we are treating today is the structure of project writing. The structure of project writing. Now, every project writing has a structure. It has a structure. That what it means, it has a procedure that you use in writing that project. You don't just start writing chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3. You just no, it has a procedure. It has a procedure. Every page in a project writing, in a project work counts. So we are treating that procedure today. I'm going to be giving brief explanation on every procedure. And in subsequent videos, I will give broader explanations on each of them. All right. So stay tuned. If you're joining us, if you're just joining us in this channel right now, subscribe to this channel, like the video, and comment anything that you wish me to treat concerning project writing. Write it down in the comment section. When I see it, we will treat it in subsequent videos. All right. Like I said earlier, project project writing is structured. It has a procedure. Now, in a project writing, in a project writing, there are four sections in a project writing, or there are four sections in a project work. All right. The first section is called the preliminary pages. The preliminary pages. The second section is called the project work, or the body of the project. the project work or the body of the project. The third section is called the references. The references. And the fourth section is called the appendix. The appendix. The appendix. All right, let's start with the first section of the structure of a project, which is the preliminary pages. Okay, so the preliminary pages is the first section of the structure of a project, and it contains the title or topic of the project. That is the topic that you are writing, about. It contains the author's information. That is you that is writing it. You are the author of that project work. So that preliminary pages contains information about you, and finally it also contains information, a brief information about what you wrote, about the topic that you wrote, about the topic that you researched on. It contains a brief information about it, as well as the components and subtopics that you treated in that project work. It also contains components and subtopics that you treated in that project work. So in a preliminary page, there are 7 components. For preliminary pages, there are 7 components. You have the title, the title page or the cover page. You have the author's declaration. You have the what's it called? You have the author's declaration. You have certification, author's certification. You have dedication. You have dedication. You have acknowledgement. You have table of contents, and you have abstract. These are the 7. Let me repeat it again. In preliminary pages, there are 7 components. The first component is the title page or the cover page. The second component is the author's declaration. The third component is author's certification. The fourth component is dedication. The fifth component is acknowledgement. The sixth component is table of content. And the seventh component is abstract. Now, that is the components that are embedded in the preliminary pages. In a subsequent video, I'm going to explain everything that I'm going to be explaining all these components. I'm going to be explaining all these 7 components in a subsequent video, and that is definitely in the next video that I'm going to do. So let's move to the second section of the structure of the project. The second section of the project of a project work, which is the body of the project or the project work itself. In that project work, you will find the chapters of the project. You find the chapters of the project. That is where you find the chapter 1, you find the chapter 2, you find the chapter 3, you find the chapter 4, you find the chapter 5 of that project work. That is the body of the project. This second section of the project, of the structure of a project writing, is divided into chapters, and it has 5 chapters. It has 5 chapters: chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, chapter 4, and chapter 5. All right. Now, in chapter 1 has 8 components. Chapter 1 has 8 components. And what are those components? It has, the first component is the background study. The second component is the statement of the problem. The third component is the objective of the study. The fourth component is research question. The fifth component is scope of the study. The sixth component is significance of the study. The seventh component is limitations of the study. And the eighth component is definition of terms. That is 8 components for chapter 1. 8 components for chapter 1. Moving on to the second chapter, that is the chapter 2 of the body of the project work. The chapter 2, normally it is called literature review. It is called literature review. Excuse me. It's called literature review. All right. So in this chapter 2, it has 3 components. Normally it has only 3 components, but it is really, really broad. Very, very broad. All right. So these 3 components are: number 1, the literature review, number 2, the theoretical framework, and the empirical review. The theoretical framework and the empirical review. Note, all these components that I am talking, both the chapter 1 component, and this chapter 2 components, even the chapter 3 and the chapter 4 and chapter 5 components, I will still do separate videos where I will explain all these components and also let you know how to write on these components. All right. So this chapter 2 has 3 components, like I said earlier: the literature review, the theoretical framework, and the empirical review. I hope you are understanding all these things. I hope you have your pen and your paper and you are noting it down. If you are joining us now, subscribe, like this video, and comment anything that you want me to treat concerning project writing. Moving on to chapter 3. Chapter 3 is called research methodology. Research methodology. In this chapter 3, it has 9 components. It has 9 components. All right. The first component is the research design. The research design, followed by area of the study, followed by population of the study, followed by sample size and sample techniques, followed by data collection instruments, followed by measurable variables, followed by validity of the instrument, reliability of the instrument, and method of data analysis. Let me go over it again. Number 1 is the research design. Number 2 is area of the study. Number 3 is population of the study. Number 4 is sample size and sample techniques. Number 5 is data collection instrument. Number 6 is measurable variables. Number 7 is validity of the instrument. Number 8 is reliability of the instrument. Number 9 is method of data analysis. These are the 9 components that are in chapter 3 of the project work. All right. I hope you understand all these things. Moving on to chapter 4 of the project work, or the body of the project. The chapter 4 is called data presentation and analysis. Data presentation and analysis. Now, this chapter does not really have components. All right, it does not have components, but this chapter is the most crucial part of project writing. Like, this is the most crucial part of project. In fact, chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 1 and chapter 2, project supervisors don't really even take time in it, because it is you you're just trying to bring in all the past work about that topic, or the topics that are related to that topic that you're writing. You're just trying to, build a background, tell people that something like this has been in existence for a while and all that, and people must have even written about it. And you are writing about it, but you are trying to divert your own research to in a particular segment of that topic. All right. So this chapter does not really have components, but it is the crucial part of this of project writing, because in this chapter you are analyzing every single information that you gathered about that topic. Every single information, assuming that you are given a topic to write: the negative impact of TikTok of TikTok media, or the negative impact of TikTok on students. A study of let's say a study of Madonna University students. A study of Madonna University students. This this chapter 4 now, this is where you will tell us, this is where you will tell everybody how you got to how you got information about how Madonna students use TikTok. This is where you will tell everyone how you got the information of how Madonna students use TikTok, how it has been affecting their academics, how it has been affecting their academics, how it has, you know, in fact, every information that you gathered from Madonna students, Madonna University students, every information you gathered from them, that is where you analyze everything. That is where you analyze everything. And in gathering information, there is something we call questionnaire. So you will this questionnaire is more like writing down writing down questions, a diversified question. It means different kind of questions that you have arranged, but it is still directed in the same axis of that topic that you are writing. All right. So those questions, you will write it down, and you will write it down, uh, type it, print it. Maybe you want to administer it to 200 students in Madonna University. You will simply type it and administer it to 200 students of Madonna University. You will give it to them for them to answer those questions for you. The questions might be, do you use TikTok? The first question might be, what is your age? What is your level in Madonna University? Do you use TikTok? Do you use TikTok? How often do you use TikTok? Has TikTok affected has TikTok affected your academics positively or negatively? What are the things that you have learned? What are the things that you've learned in TikTok that has impacted in you positively, and has TikTok been impacting in you negatively? All these questions, when they answer it, you will come into that chapter 4 and analyze everything that you got about that topic, those questions that you gave to them to answer. That is where you will analyze every single information that you gathered. Moving on to chapter 5. The chapter 5 is called the summarization, conclusion, and recommendation. These three things that I just called now, I am moving on to the last chapter of the project work, which is chapter 5. The chapter 5 has three components. And what are those three components? The summarization, the conclusion, and the recommendation. The summarization, the conclusion, and the recommendation. This is where in this chapter 5 you will summarize every single thing that you've written from chapter 1 to 4. You will summarize it, every single thing. You will summarize every single thing, and you will conclude You will conclude on what you found out about that topic, just like I used the negative impact of TikTok on Madonna students. In that conclusion, you will tell everybody whether truly TikTok has affected the students negatively, or maybe there is some level of positivity in it. That is where you will put it down so that people will when we are reading, because most times people might not really read through everything, but they will go and see the summarization, and the conclusion, where you tell people a brief of everything you've written, all the findings that you found, all the findings that you got, and then your conclusion, where you will tell us what you know, what you found out properly that TikTok does, whether it impacts positively or negatively. And then is the recommendation is like, you if you found out that it has been impacting negatively on students' academic grades, you will, in that recommendation, you will recommend different measures whereby students can take in order to not allow not to allow TikTok impact in them negatively. Probably you might recommend that they should have a minimum, a separate and minimum time they spend on TikTok, and then have a separate and maximum time they spend on reading their books. All right. That is one of the recommendations. You might as well have some other recommendations. I'm just using this topic as an example. All right. So I hope you understand what this means. I will still explain it very well in a different video. These three components, the summarization, the conclusion, and the recommendation, I will still explain it perfectly well in a subsequent video. But just understand the brief, just have a brief knowledge about it. Just have a brief knowledge about it. So that is all for the chapter 5 of the body of the project, and that is all for the second section of the structure of a project writing. The second section of the project writing, which is the body of the project, or the project work itself. Okay, moving on to the third section, which is the references. This one, it is not really much of a thing. The references is you the references is more like you writing down every means by which you got information about that topic. Every means by which you got information. If you got information through journals, you write it down. You write it down. If you got information through a textbook of somebody else, of a scholar, you write it down. If you got information from another project work on on a related topic to what you are writing, you write every basically you where you will find more information is from past project works. So you are writing down the topics, that particular topic that is related to your own topic. You write it down and you write the author. You write it down, you write the author, you write the date. If it is journal, you write down the journal, you write down where you got the journal, you write the date. Even if it is a website, you write down the website, you write the date that the journal was published, the date the journal was published. If it is a textbook that you got it from, you write you write down the title of that textbook, you write the author, you write the year the textbook was published. That is all about references. And mind you, you don't need to carry different people, different topics, even the ones that you did not use, just to fill the reference. If what you used is only 10, what you use is only 10 instruments. That's what I mean by 10 instruments is maybe you used three journals, you used three journals, you used five other textbooks, other project works, or maybe you also added extra two textbook, or maybe you used two journals and eight project work. If that is exactly what you use, just write that 10. Just write that 10. It is better you wrote the 10 that you know you used than gathering other people work, even the ones that you did not use. Most most supervisors are very tricky when they are asking their question. They might decide, okay, can you name the 20 uh 20 references that you used in writing this project? By the time they ask you that kind of question, you don't even know, because me being that you gathered reference from everywhere, you will find it hard though. But if you just write down that 10 that you know perfectly well, once they ask you that kind of question, you give it to them now, straight up, like say you dey chop akara and bread, everywhere good. And that is how you make it out for reference. So that is all about reference. Moving on to the last section of the structure of project writing. The last section is called the appendix. The appendix. So the appendix is just like the reference, is nothing much in it as well, but it has details actually, because it is in the appendix that you will find those questions that you penned down and administered to students, or to the population that you are to the population of the area that you are writing. All right, let's say, just like I said, just like I used Madonna as an example, that questionnaire that you wrote down and administered to 200 students of Madonna universities, those questions that you wrote down, it is in the appendix that you will write all of it down, including the age, the marital status, the level, their level in the school, and the rest of it. Every question that you asked in that questionnaire, every question that they answered, you will write it down. And also, most times it contains uh, some other instruments, some other materials. Maybe you use the charts and graph to do your analysis. It is in the appendix that you will bring in those charts and graph that you used in writing your project. So that is all for structure of project writing. I hope everybody understood what project writing is. All right, everyone, that is all for the structure of project writing. That is all concerning about project writing, structure of project writing. Like I have repeated, like I said earlier and repeated it often, I will still make videos where I will explain every single component in all the sections of the structure of project writing. All right. We are all here to learn. So stay tuned, subscribe to this channel, like the video, comment anything. I've said this again and again and again. Comment anything that you want me to treat concerning project writing. Write it down in the comment section. I will treat it in subsequent videos. All right. So thank you guys for being there. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'll see you guys in the next video. Ciao.